I imagine that my rounds today are either going to be crazy, awesome, amazing, or a complete disaster. So buckle up and let's figure out which one of them it's going to be in each round. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another modern video, and today we are going to be playing with Martin's Dimir Balance deck. And by that I mean Restore Balance. I know that this is technically a white card, but ignore that suspend cost. We're not dealing with that today. So, each player chooses a number of lands they control equal to the number of lands controlled by the fewest player. By the fewest player? By the player who controls the fewest. Then sacrifices the rest. And then you do the same thing for creatures and cards in hand. So, ideally, what you would like to do with this card is cast it, Armageddon your opponent, board wipe your opponent, and mind twist your opponent all at the same time. Now, is it always going to line up that way? No, absolutely not, but that is what this card is capable of doing. And we are going to use As Foretold to cast that, ignoring its sort of whole mana value suspend cost thing. And we can do the same with Profane Tutor as well, and just turn it into a 0 mana, just regular old demonic tutor right to hand. We are going to be able to abuse this card in a couple of cute ways. So number one, we have the ability to sacrifice all of our lands at will if we have a Zuran Orb. So with a Restore Balance on the stack, we can go sacrifice all of our lands, and then we get to Armageddon our opponent. And we aren't playing all that many creatures. Now, the creatures that we are playing all do something that allows us to generate extra cards, so we don't care if we discard our entire hand or close to it with a Restore Balance. And this deck is very weird in that it is playing a bunch of bad cantrips that are either slow or cost multiple mana to cantrip, so that we can store cards on board for after and As Foretold. Now, this is not a deck that I have edited a lot. I think I changed the mana base slightly, just kind of skewing the ratio of fetch lands a little bit differently. But I'm largely playing this one as is. The As Foretold decks that I have played in the past have been really, really high variance. I understand what this deck is trying to do, and we'll see whether or not it accomplishes it. The problem, I think, is that the modern Dimir piles are just piles of good cards. And to fit in As Foretold, Restore Balance, Profane Tutor, and all of these sort of odd onboard cantrips, we are losing out on things like Fatal Push or Orcish Bowmasters that serve as early interaction. We don't have end the game quickly threats, such as Murktide Regent, that I can just play and just bam bam, our opponent dies. So we're missing out on some stuff, and we'll see how janky this ends up feeling. I don't have too much to say about the sideboard here. We do have an Oops, I Win button in some matchups by turning off all of our opponent's lands. And there's definitely some things here that are very, very cute with Restore Balance. And again, Restore Balance doesn't impact your artifacts and enchantments, so you can keep those around. Let's go ahead and get into the magic. Folks, if you need any cards for this or any other modern deck, please consider getting them from my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. They're awesome. I like them a lot. Use promo code ThrabenU, save yourself 5% on your order, and you're always going to get free shipping with them online, no matter what. Alrighty, let's try to restore some balance to the world, eh? Opening hand number 1 does not have any lands here. That is not gonna do. Opening hand number 2 is totally fine and good. I will absolutely keep it. And I think I'm putting this back into the deck with the option to have it later. I've got stuff that I can do with my mana early on, and looks like we're going to be playing against some sort of Eldrazi deck. Going to exile there, Shifting Woodland, notably. So opponent has their own sort of build your own ancient tomb there. And they are out very far ahead of me in terms of mana. They are going to have 4 mana next turn. Oh boy. So we will Tamiyo, And I think I'll just hold this. I don't know if this deck is playing a Thought Knot Seer sort of thing that I might have to worry about. So I'm not going to take the redraw immediately. Looks like opponent is just chilling after making some mana. Oh, there's a Kozilek's command coming, which is not great for me. So that's draw 1. That's draw 2. Quantum Riddler is in theory draw 3. Let's get our clue. And then attempt to flip Tamiyo before my opponent has that Kozilek's command. Hey. +2 Tamiyo. So it's turn 2. I have a Tamiyo. I have a counterspell that I can theoretically rebuy with Tamiyo. Although this one is only kind of a counterspell. My opponent just has so much mana that we're going to get to casting stuff that looks like this very, very quickly. It is Sowing Mycospawn time. These Profane Tutors are not usable immediately, and it's kind of a big deal. My opponent can just Devourer of Destiny, and I've lost a land to Sowing Mycospawn's trigger, so I don't get to sink into Stupor. I think I'm just gonna die. Okay, I'm going to outright just be dead to the Sowing Mycospawn. I don't have an instant or sorcery that I can return, so I'm just plussing here. And I am potentially just losing the game unless I draw an As Foretold. As Foretold can do some pretty interesting things if I spike As Foretold and then tutor for Restore Balance. So that is another Devourer of Destiny. That's not the one that's under the Ugin's Labyrinth. So I'm going to get hit for 2 there, and then be taking 9, and be facing down this. Don't love it. I believe that I have 1 basic swamp. I do have 1 basic swamp. I think I'm going to do this, and I am probably just bouncing a Devourer of Destiny to my opponent's hand. That ends up saving me 4 life, counting the Watery Grave that comes into play. So bounce you. My position's still just really bad. Alright, that's mana, that's fine. Oh, yeah. Alright, so I will cast this card for sure. I think I need to tutor for Restore Balance or As Foretold here, and then rip the other off the top of the deck. So let's grab the As Foretold, I guess. And I did not rip the other off the top of the deck. So I can As Foretold into Profane Tutor, but that just does not get me out of here. I can't Clue Token redraw and then As Foretold, so I think I'm just dead. That did not feel competitive. So I can do 4 Consigns, 3 Harbinger of the Seas. Inquisition seems like it misses a ton of stuff. I don't know how effective the Brazen Borrower bounce stuff actually is. A bunch of my opponent's creatures have powerful cast triggers. Get rid of those. Get rid of some of this card storage. And then maybe I just need a removal spell or 2. Fatal Push misses a bunch of stuff in a way that I don't love. Toxic Deluge is really heavy on my life total. I think I'm going to play a Fatal Push. If I Harbinger of the Seas, it becomes harder to use. This is not competitive. Tamiyo is great, Thoughtseize is great, but I have 3 cards stranded in hand, and the clues that I have won't work either. I mean, yeah. I think we've got a clear plan with this one. I think this Sink into Stupor basically always hurts me. I might just do this on 1. Yeah, I might just go ahead and do this on 1. So there's a Tamiyo. And Utopia Sprawl from my opponent. And okay. Am I restoring balance next turn? If yes, Bobble is fine. I might take this either way. It's not a particularly good card, but it kind of works with the stuff that I'm looking to do. There's Eldrazi Temple, a Writhing Chrysalis. That does give my opponent colorless mana through Harbinger of the Seas, which is a little annoying. So I do this. You have Sneaky Reach, right? You have Sneaky Reach. Attack in anyway? If I attack in anyway, that kills Writhing Chrysalis and the 2 spawns. If I restore balance, I think I'm okay with. Yeah? Yep. Ah, you're small. You don't... Opponent wants their spawns. Fetch. Island. As Foretold. And we will restore balance. This is going to be a discard 3 for my opponent, and I'll destroy 2 of their creatures. I will lose 1 land. Okay. They are scaling up their creature. I will keep you and you. Okay. Those are 3 pretty decent cards to get. I wish that my opponents didn't have the Writhing Chrysalis in play, but that is what it is. And hopefully next turn I can do this. I mean, that's kind of annoying, given what I want to be doing here. And I might just die to the Writhing Chrysalis. Yeah. Just pick up the Restore Balance with the other side of Tamiyo. I get my time counter, and in rack a clue token. I would really like to hit a land drop here. I don't. Plus with this Tamiyo, and again, even if I try to do this, I still have to pay 3 mana. I don't get to deploy this Harbinger of the Seas, which was going to be really important to stop my opponent's mana production. And As Foretold lets you do this once per turn, so you could also do it on your opponent's turn. If I had something like, say, the other side of this, Sink into Stupor. That is a Sowing Myco spawn, and opponent ramps up a little bit. That is not a land. This is a disaster. Yeah, that is also not a land. Yeah, I'm just going to die to the creatures. My Restore Balance did not actually serve as a board wipe. And Trinisphere kind of cancels out everything that my deck wants to do, unfortunately. What did they get there? The Devourer of Destiny. Yeah, that's real bad. Now if I draw a Restore Balance, I can't even cast it. So now I can play Harbinger of the Seas and die to the creatures that are already in play. That's not great. And my opponent just gets to cast Devourer of Destiny and take out the As Foretold, so I can't even do anything cheating with that next turn. Yeah, I'm just fully dead. That was not competitive. GG. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. Okay, opening hand is a solid 6-card hand where the Restore Balance here is probably not doing anything. I think I'm going to do Undercity Sewers tapped on 1 so I can Thoughtseize into Tamiyo next turn. Okay. Quite awkward. Because I really just want a 3rd land drop. Because I have these sources of card advantage already. DRC. Okay. So, let's do this in the other order, although I don't think that it matters all that much. I don't know this one. Target creature blocks this turn if able. You may have it gain reach until end of turn. Learn. Okay, this card doesn't make sense to me. So there must be some lesson that I don't understand that makes that good. Am I more afraid of Slick Shot, Show Off, or Corey Steelcutter? Both are good. I think I'm taking Corey Steelcutter in the hopes that Slick Shot, Show Off punches me in the face and then dies to a Restore Balance in the next turn or two beyond that. There's land drop. I suppose it's possible for my opponent to go fetch Academic Dispute Bobble. No, that doesn't quite get DRC to a 3/3 for killing Tamiyo. I wish I knew what Academic Dispute could get. Alright. Trigger. And then cycle Bobble. Whether or not I have a land on top of my library is a really big deal for this decision about whether or not I am trying to block here. I think I want to block to leave Restore Balance as Wrath of God as a thing. Just intentionally have the Tamiyo die. Not how I wanted that to go down. Going to take the immediate redraw, and I do not find a land. Hopefully I don't die. Again, I don't know what Academic Dispute can get. So I don't actually know how bad that is for me. I expect that I will lose roughly half of my life total this turn. So there's a follow-up land, down to 14 with the shock. If I only take 6 here, that's not all that bad, but my opponent did an untapped Steam Vents, so that means something else is coming, yeah. Alright, come on, untapped land. Fuck. I'm trying to decide whether or not Thoughtseize saves me life. I think it does on average. Those are good cards. So Unholy Heat is the thing that stops me from blocking this. That might too, but I don't know. I'm going to take the Unholy Heat here. I didn't math it out, but I expect that I am probably dead to Swift Spear and 2 DRCs anyway. And this is where not having those fatal pushes that I talked about in the deck tech is a really big deal. I'm stumbling on my land drops here, and I don't have time to get anything going. So there's Swift Spear. Alright, so now I can see what lesson they have to learn. Boomerang Basics. I see. So Academic Dispute is 2 mana, bounce, target, permanent, and trigger prowess and slick shot show off type stuff twice. Okay, now I know. I'm very dead even through the blocker there. Let's see what we can do in terms of interaction. I can Fatal Push, I can attempt to Propaganda, and I can attempt to Toxic Deluge. I don't think Zuran Orb is good, despite the fact that my opponent is a glorified burn deck. I think that I need my lands to play Magic. I think I'm going to get rid of Thoughtseize. It negatively impacts my life total, and I will get rid of one of these cyclers. That still leaves me with a bunch of slow cyclers, and I don't love that. Do I just need Thoughtseize? I don't really want Thoughtseize, because a bunch of times I'm going to open on something like Flooded Strand that is going to require me to take 5 on my first turn. Do Thoughtseize. Ugh. I don't have anything like Ephemerate that is broken to do with Quantum Riddler. Alright, I mean, this is As Foretold, Restore Balance, and I have the 3 lands to do it. Hopefully it's good enough. I don't know that it is. Let's Surveil. I think I'll say no to the additional land. Let's see what my opponent's up to. I imagine that we are going to see creatures on both turns 1 and turn 2, and then I'm hoping that Restore Balance just ends up being... Ooh, that's quite good. Anyway, I hope that Restore Balance ends up being just enough to win the game. I will take the Preordain over the Bauble here, and then I will just play this out for the sake of getting cards out of my hand for As Foretold. Now, notably, my opponent has some things that they're not going to mind discarding all that much. Although, it is possible that they just Lava Dart my face twice this turn for some prowess damage while they know it's guaranteed. Yeah, and we are seeing that. Just once, though. I'm only taking 3. My opponent goes back up to 4 cards in hand. I'll fetch. I'll get the basic. I will go ahead and play the As Foretold, and I think this is still worth doing. I'll keep my basics in case there's anything weird in this format that has to do with them. This will be a discard 2 for my opponent and destroy Swift Spear. But this might just be discard Lava Dart and land, and my opponent just moves on with their life as if nothing happened. Yeah, and that is exactly what's happening. So we have done the thing that our deck is designed to do, and it is unclear whether or not that is actually going to make me win. I don't have a persistent source of card advantage here. I have 1 card that is chilling in play. I don't have anything that I can cast with As Foretold on my opponent's turn to sort of break parity here. But if all I take here is 1 damage off a prowess creature, that's not the end of the world. And there's a DRC. Sure. Counter goes up. So am I using this to save 3 life and bounce a creature out of play? Or do I need to take the redraw here and find something like a Psychic Frog or a Tamiyo or another Restore Balance? It seems like doing this just punts off Disaster for a turn. I think I'm going to go ahead and redraw here. Okay, there is a Tamiyo. I will cast that for free with As Foretold. That makes this cost 3, meaning that I can't do it this turn. I will get a Watery Grave out of the deck in this turn cycle instead then. Uh-huh. No, let's find a Restore Balance. Oh fuck, the last card's Lightning Bolt. Oh yeah, that's bad. I'm just gonna get the Watery Grave now. So finding another Restore Balance would be a little weird, right? Because my opponent could double Lava Dart my face and then Armageddon me. So that's a thing. That's not a Restore Balance, in which case I am dead on board. So we did the thing, and the thing was just frankly not powerful enough. GG. Okay, opening hand is fine. I think I'll just lead on the Tamiyo over the Thoughtseize. I would love Tamiyo to accrue a couple of clues before I start doing As Foretold stuff. We've got an Arid Mesa. Steam Vents. Is my Tamiyo dead? My Tamiyo is dead this time. That is a Psychic Frog. I guess we're doing that. Grab an island here. And then some of these cards might just be converting into Psychic Frog fuel to keep Psychic Frog outside of Lightning Bolt range. There's Corey Steelcutter. And the Bobble to trigger it. I mean, I'll block. I'll discard a Thoughtseize here. And trade with that Monk token. Well, not trade with that Monk token. I will kill that Monk token. My 2-3 to their 2-2. And I imagine that I'm just going to end up discarding the As Foretold and trying to do some Quantum Riddler crimes here. Opponent cycles their Bobble. Well, discard an As Foretold. Discard an As Foretold. I think just... No, I can do the Riddler now before I make that decision. So I will draw 2 cards off Quantum Riddler. Do that. Go to combat. Send in with Psychic Frog. After no blocks, before I draw the card for the Psychic Frog trigger, I'll discard to Sink into Stupor. Psychic Frog trigger, draw 2 off of Quantum Riddler. Play Bobble. Cycle Bobble. Ooh, Mutagenic Growth. Okay. Well, I've got a 5-6 Psychic Frog and 2 Quantum Riddlers. I could discard a Quantum Riddler to draw another card. I think I'm okay with that. This is silly. Oh no, I don't have the Quantum Riddler in play anymore. That left at my end step. JK. That was not a wise choice. Although I might end up just doing it next turn anyway because I have another Quantum Riddler. Flick Shot Show Off is fine. But I could take a lot of damage here. Now we can dismiss that. I think my opponent needs to kill me right now or they die to Flying Psychic Frog. I guess this could block. Alright. Am I gonna die to some pile of mutagenic growths? Maybe. 12? 12 is fine. In which case, Psychic Frog is lethal. Yeah, so they needed to not attack with Slick Shot Show Off there and just attack with the Monk to try to get another turn. I end up Aether Spellbombing that out of the way, though, and have lethal. Alright, Martin. I'm gonna level with you. What we just did was fucking awesome. And I think you might need to take the As Foretold, Restore Balances, Bobble Zuran Orbs, Spell Bombs of all varieties out of the deck and build around that interaction. Because that was silly. Push, push, Deluge, Propaganda. What did I do before? I went back and forth on Thoughtseize. I begrudgingly kept it in. Profane Tutor? Question mark? We've got a Propaganda, a Tamiyo, a Toxic Deluge, a Fatal Push, and 1 land. Do we believe? I'm going to try to believe. I think I need to run a little hot to win games with this deck, as it is currently configured. So I think 3 1-drops, 1 land, in the hopes of drawing 1 of my, 19 remaining lands in 2 draw steps is okay. Never didn't have it. I think I'm going to go with Thoughtseize in an attempt to completely stop one of the 2 drops from coming down. Goodbye, Corey Steelcutter. Okay. So then I can, potentially set up for some cool stuff. Hopefully my opponent is only dealing 2 damage to me this turn. In which case, Tamiyo Fatal Push is a great start. Oh shit, Psychic Frog? Psychic Frog's pretty stupid. Let's play Psychic Frog. And then opponent can do a end of turn surveil land. They're keeping something in the face of Psychic Frog. We know there's one land remaining. Furry Steel Cutter's real good. Are they attacking? They are not. So, I have some interesting tools now. I think I'm just gonna Propaganda. Go to 13. Throw that down. Hold down the fort with Psychic Frog. And then kinda see where we're gonna go. We've got a Preordain now. And the more mana my opponent spends on setting up these creatures, the fewer of them they can actually attack with. Top on those cards. Got a Bobble as the next thing. My opponent can only attack with one creature. And if they attack, it's a 3/4? I think I'm setting up for a Deluge for either x equals 2 or x equals 3. To clear this, and keep Psychic Frog alive. One card remaining. My opponent can draw with Fiery Islet. Okay, no attack. Deluge is a little weird right now. That's a Restore Balance that doesn't do anything right now other than be Psychic Frog food. So I could discard 4 toughness, fly in, Deluge for x equals 3 afterwards. Yeah. So this is the point where we're past a Lightning Bolt. Now let's fly. Yeah. Draw my card. An Otawara, I think, is just a land. Is x equals 3 enough? I hope so. Very awkward if it isn't. I could do it for x equals 4 and just give up Fatal Push. I don't really want to do that. My opponent has to cast 2 spells to save their creatures here. Lava Dart is awkward. Okay, hot damn, it did just resolve. So then next turn I can start doing the Quantum Riddler frog stuff that was really powerful last game. My opponent has shuffled with that fetch land, so the Fiery Islet is just a random draw. I have Fatal Push for a haste creature. Although honestly, I might even just use it on a monk token. It doesn't take Psychic Frog very long to kill. Okay, I will Fatal Push that. 3 mana? Gonna be like a Murktide? It is a Murktide. Alright, the Propaganda helps a little bit here. Exactly how big is that? That's a 4/4. Spooky. Fatal Push you. Disgusting. Alright. Warp you in. Draw 2. Petty Theft. You out of play. And that's good enough for my opponent. Okay, we have discovered the thing that is strong about this deck. It is not Restore Balance. It is Psychic Frog and Quantum Riddler. Alright, GG. Alright, opening hand has Tamiyo and an Inquisition. This is totally fine. Are we doing this again? We're doing this again. Well, hopefully we draw a Psychic Frog. I'm at 19. That is not a Psychic Frog. I think I am prioritizing stopping the 2-drops from coming down, having played this matchup a couple of times now. This is the double strike one? Yeah, okay. So I will take the Slick Shot Show Off, and I'll put this into play. I think I'm just going to cycle it immediately, even though I can try to use it to flip a Tamiyo later. I think I just need redraws towards Psychic Frog. I am not a deck that has game 1 removal. So my game 1 removal is play Psychic Frog and defeat everything in combat. 18. I know that's gone, and I know that's gone. Only taking 2 this turn would be cool. We are Lava Darting, though. So that's 3 in combat, plus the 1 from the Lava Dart. I'm at 15. Opponent is low on cards, but gets 1 redraw. So there's that redraw. That's worth a couple of points of life. I think I just need to get this Tamiyo in play, though, despite the mana awkwardness here. So one of those draws was a land, which is probably overall positive for us. The opponent's got Stomping Ground this time. That might just be a way to cast the mutagenic growths of the world. And given this, I think I am not blocking. Opponent is doing it prior to blockers, though. Now do I just need to do it? I take 6. Alright, I'll block. Cool. And then hopefully this stuff buys me a significant amount of time. I'm going to do Otawara as a land. Then I have this, and I don't take a bunch of damage to get an untapped mana source. Actually, do I have a second basic island? No, I considered adding a second one in and didn't. So the hope here is that my opponent does not have a removal spell this turn. I will block if they attack in, and I'll Brazen Borrower if they cast the Lava Dart. I guess they could let the damage go through and then do it. Alright, I don't want that to happen. So they can redeploy that in second main, and that's totally fine with me. Now, hopefully, Tamiyo just does Tamiyo things, but I have a bunch of very awkward cards like As Foretold that I could draw instead of, efficient cards like Fatal Push. I think I'm holding up Sink into Stupor for this turn, and transforming Tamiyo next turn. Yeah, like, this is... If that's a Fatal Push, this is a very, very different situation, right? And this is not real removal versus one-drop hasty red creatures. Oh wow, that's top. I hate that. Holding Tarn. That's Unholy Heat. Certainly with Delirium. This is not a real counterspell. Bouncing that back to hand doesn't do anything. My Tamiyo is dead. There's Violent Urge. 0 cards remaining. I will declare no blocks. If they use the Lava Dart. They don't. So I save a lot of damage here. But this is the second time that I've bounced that Swift Spear. And I don't have a plan for winning the game right now. I need some sort of Quantum Riddler, Psychic Frog sort of thing. Opponent's down to 14. That comes back. And with Lava Dart chilling in the graveyard, I can't rely on Brazen Borrower to be a win condition. Well, we drew another Restore Balance. Yeah? Inquisition, my opponent has 0 cards in hand. Cool. You can never be an untapped land, so let's do that. He's not Corey Steelcutter. Okay, technically, that's what I asked for. I am getting Lava Darted. I'll go to 13, and then I am taking 5 here. The Lava Dart is now out of the graveyard, meaning Brazen Borrower can block Slickshot Show Off next turn, but I have 2.5 dead cards in hand. Well, I mean, that does kill both their creatures, but I end up losing a bunch of cards in one way or another. I think I just accept that. Is it worth taking 2 to get Brazen Borrower into play immediately? Probably not, but it's close. So we will restore balance to the world. And these were dead cards anyway. I don't super mind losing them. Yeah. I will discard all cards in my hand. Just from my hand. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast. Okay. EI is an incredible top deck for my opponent. Get a land to exile, which they can play. And then we're hoping to avoid the Slick Shots and Corey Steelcutters. I don't even know that it's correct to cast that second EI this turn. I think you wait for the following turn. Yeah, so like that is just an EI that replaced itself. They did not get 2 cards out of that. Well, pass turn with the intention of playing Brazen Borrower. Preordain. That was top. The opponent might be either waiting to deal with my Brazen Borrower or trying to set up something like a Corey Steelcutter or a Slickshot show-off thing for next turn. Alright. Zuran Orb is a very weird draw. I'll cast it. I'll even pay its mana cost. That puts me at effectively double my current life total. That is the Corey Steelcutter and Preordain. I think if my opponent plays this smart in terms of using their Corey Steelcutter and spells to like maximize the number of monks they make, I think they outpace my damage and my life gain. The Preordain bottomed, so I've got that going for me. That's a lightning bolt. I wonder if that was supposed to go to face rather than to Brazen Borrower. There's a mutagenic growth. Yeah, that was absolutely supposed to go to face. This is not lethal damage yet, so I'll just take it. 2. As Foretold up to 3. That's a Psychic Frog. I'll cast it. Not a particularly good Psychic Frog yet, but it's a Psychic Frog. There's this window here where my opponent could, like, Lightning Bolt it or Unholy Heat it. Alright, I mean, the Psychic Frog dies. And then I have to start sacrificing lands. Sacrifice this. Take 3. Go to 1. Okay. There's 4 counters on this, so I can't do this for free with As Foretold, but this is still a draw 2. Come on. So I will Spellbomb. What is the wording here? So I think I Spellbomb for free with As Foretold. Bracket targeting you. Alright, my opponent has given up, which I don't think they should do when I am at 1 life. But they have given up. I guess I'm effectively at 7. Corey Steelcutter is such a strong card, though. So anyway, I get to Spellbomb, cycle, draw 2 with this Riddler, and then Brazen Borrower, the Monk token, out of play for free on the following turn, and then I recast the Riddler the next turn with As Foretold, and hopefully that all works out. Deluge, Deluge, push, push, push. I feel like I've sideboarded differently for this every single time that I've done it. I'm going to go Profane Tutors out this time, and some Spell Bombs. Hell yeah. Opponent has kept on 6 cards. Alright, no creature in play on turn 1. That is fantastic for me. I suspect that I need to hurt myself with this Watery Grave this game. I don't want to draw that. I'm going to do this and try to stop a Corey Steelcutter from coming down. I will succeed at doing that. Now, opponent's hand is still quite good. So we'll see probably Swift Spear and Bobble this turn. Yep. I'm only taking 2, and then hopefully I can get Psychic Frog and or Tamiyo going. I think I'm doing Tamiyo and Fatal Push this turn. That's interesting. Now I think it's Psychic Frog. Although this is 3 life. Hopefully that's fine. I will believe in the card that is banned in Legacy. Alright, no attack from my opponent, and they have 1 land. Love that for me. Honestly, I don't even know if I do the As Foretold stuff then. This might just be me playing regular old fair Magic with a Psychic Frog. Yeah. This is just Psychic Frog is a good Magic the Gathering card. Get outside of range of Lightning Bolt with that discard. And I'm willing to do another one in response if they do have the Lightning Bolt, which they don't. So draw my card. Yeah, I mean, I know that that is going to hit. So that's fine. Get the basic. Inquisition you. Bell Pierce. You got it. There's a Tamiyo. So there's opponent's other land drop that they desperately needed. But it looks like I'm untapping with both of these creatures, and my opponent didn't play out something like a Corey Steelcutter. So that's great. Always yield to that. I think we're good there. Psychic Frog's card draw is draw number 2. Oh shit. Well, I mean, there's Warp, draw 2. Mystical Dispute. Sure. That occurs. I don't know that I take 2 to crack the clue immediately and transform Tamiyo. Or actually, it's 3. Tamiyo picking up Fatal Push next turn is a really big deal, though. So there's 9. Draw my card. Transform Tamiyo. Tamiyo plus. And this might just be frog food to keep my opponent. Or sorry, to clock my opponent in 2 turns with Psychic Frog. Surveil land is fine. I suspect that this deck needs 1 more basic land. Okay, cool. Cards that are not threats are great for me right now. Yeah, you can have your Scalding Tarn Value. That's fine. It looks like we're just chilling. I think I'm going discard, discard. Hold up this spell. Probably get Fatal Pushback. So, yeah. Discard Thoughtseize. Discard Bobble. Opponent to 3. Draw my card for Frog. I think Tamiyo minus on Fatal Push. I think you're just a land. Alright, I feel pretty safe. 3 lightning bolts to my face. And a 4th land to recast one of them. Could kill me. I will just take that as a tempo play here. Back to your hand. And that is the concession. We win again. Psychic Frog, good card. Let's draw that more. GG. Alright, final round. Opening hand is definitely mid. I think it is correct to just mulligan 2 hands that have Tamiyos and Psychic Frogs, but I feel like just intentionally mulliganing away all of the As Foretold stuff is going against the spirit of the video, so see what we can do here. My opponent is light on mana. Is Glaring Fleshraker or Mind Stone more mana? The Swamp this time, interesting. I think since my deck is so bad at actually killing creatures, I take the Glaring Fleshraker there. Now my opponent gets their Devourer of Destiny trigger, and a mix of stuff going to exile. So this is more Tron-oriented than previous builds that I have played against. I think I'm just intending on bouncing the Mind Stone with Brazen Borrower to buy a little time to get my other stuff set up. There's Temple, and there's the Mind Stone. I'll grab a basic here and send a Mind Stone out of play, and then we can, I guess, start trying to get As Foretold ticking up. It just doesn't do anything immediately here. Play Levine. There's Island. There's As Foretold. I'll put a Bauble into play as a held card. Not necessarily going to just play it out immediately here and crack it. I'm losing this Quantum Riddler off of Thought-Knot Seer, which is rough. Because that was the real card in my hand. That was probably going to be a draw 2. Now we'll see what's coming. Land, which is actually kind of scary. Ripping a Restore Balance off the top would be kind of cool right now, though. The Thoughtseize. That's not the worst. Oh shit, it's a Restore Balance off the top. So this is a little weird. I believe that I Thoughtseize myself and take... No. I can... As Foretold... I don't need a Thoughtseize target myself. I have a 0 and a 1 that I can play for free. So using the As Foretold with 1 time counter, I'll Thoughtseize you. Doesn't matter what I take, they're all going bye-bye. Then I play As Foretold. And now, using the other As Foretold, I am going to Mind Twist my opponent and destroy Thought-Knot Seer. So there's all those cards gone. Now I draw that card. I can't do that this turn, obviously, as I've used both copies of As Foretold. But that will potentially just become something like a Psychic Frog or a Quantum Riddler next turn. So we'll take those up. Multiple Profane Tutors. Alright. So cast one of these with the one that has 1 time counter. I could get Zuran Orb and Restore Balance. I mean... yeah? So do that. There's a Restore Balance to hand. I cast this. And now I'm out of ways to cast that for free. But I will get to Armageddon, my opponent, next turn. I don't know if this is better than just actually doing something that wins. But I'm in for it. This is a stored card. I will cast this for free with one of those. And we go, yeah. Asked for free with As Foretold. Then we do the Zuran Orb thing. My opponent is floating some mana. Sure. Yeah. And one last time. And now we will restore some balance to the world. Warping Whale. I'm upset. Okay. Lesson learned, never do anything fun again. So let's sack this and draw a card. I'm out of free casts. That's fine. Seems good. Opponent just pluses on the Zuran Orb. And we will ask this for free and start going after the Karn. I'll go to combat, send at Karn. Karn goes to 3. Ask this with one of the As Foretolds. Cast this with another As Foretold, although I can't activate it for multiple different reasons. There's a land drop. My opponent still gets to tutor for something big and scary with Karn. Never do anything fun. Your opponent might have Warping Whale as their only card in hand. Karn tutors. Getting Ensnaring Bridge, which is a problem. Can I even answer that card? I have 1 Brazen Borrower left. Alright, Brazen Borrower, sink into Stupor. Okay, I can answer it. But I have no manipulation right now. I think I'm just going to lose to that Karn. Sure. I can also just restore balance, blow up all of my opponent's lands, and then get cards stuck in their hand. That doesn't do me any good right now. I'll hold that, and maybe we end up discarding that to a Psychic Frog. Exiles graveyards. Exile it, return up to one target historic card from your graveyard to your hand, then exile all graveyards. Okay, got it. We will put another Psychic Frog into play. Alright, that doesn't get to attack, but it's still annoying. Vexing Bobble. Alright. Is this the point where I just give up? That's very unfortunate timing. I think I could sit here and play this game for 10 more minutes of my clock and maybe attempt to wiggle through, but I think my opponent realistically wins this one. And my sideboard doesn't really remove stuff any better, like remove Ensnaring Bridge style cards any better. So I think we're hoping to counter things for the most part. I want Pithing Needle for Karn because answering Ensnaring Bridge is such a problem. Maybe. I think the Profane Tutors are going to go. Do I want to try to live the Restore Balance dream in the Warping Whale world? Not really. I can get rid of most of them reasonably. I can keep 2 as a value card, or play 2 Profane Tutors that are just fair multi-turn tutors. I don't love all these spell bombs versus a Karn deck. That's a separate problem. So like, I can get rid of the Clunk, or I try getting rid of a bunch of the artifacts that are going to be bad. I don't know which way is better to approach that. Let's hedge against Karn heavily. This is slightly awkward, but I guess fine. Tamiyo also is awkward versus Karn. I think I am planning on flipping Tamiyo pretty quickly here. Probably immediately. I'm gonna get a Watery Grave here, despite the fact that I might be turning these into islands. If I do that, I have some lines where I end up using this Flooded Strand as a surveil land. Neither one of those fetch lands fetches basic swamp. Karn to exile. Miss this. Warping Whale is unfortunate. Take the redraw here. Kozilek's command coming. Consign is totally reasonable. Alright, I've got some stuff to like here. Hour comes down. That's awkward. Yeah, that's awkward. I think I just counter that, despite the fact that I don't really want to. God damn it. Alright. Makes my As Foretold in hand awful. I did find a basic land, though. That's a big deal. So I think this just becomes Slam Harbinger of the Seas, hope it cuts my opponent off of actual colorless mana for a little while, throw down As Foretold, and eventually Petty Theft this out of play when I want to do something unfair with As Foretold. That resolves. Or it might just be I play 2/3/1 flyers and hope my opponent dies. I do not know what my opponent is going to name now that Vexing Bobble is in play, because that means that you don't really need to name As Foretold. Psychic Frog? Petty Theft. Okay. Reasonable. My opponent's missing land drops, though, while they don't have colorless mana. This is looking favorable. Ooh, Psychic Frog as the draw. That is almost certainly better than playing out a Brazen Borrower. Like, my As Foretold is almost certainly getting pitched to the Psychic Frog to grow it with Vexing Bubble in play. That... I don't know that that land matters more than damage does right now. Dismember is annoying. I think I just live with that. Draw 1. Get a land drop anyway. 3, 6, 7, 8. Maybe have like 11 next turn. Yeah, I think I'm just passing here. And I probably want to keep enough cards in hand where I can have Psychic Frog survive a Dismember. The opponent tutored up Swamp and then is not playing Swamp. No, they are being a second main phase hipster. There's Brazen Borrower coming in. I don't know that Pithing Needle matters right now. Send on in. Discard Delta. Discard Pithing Needle. 5, 8, 9, 10. I'll keep the extra Brazen Borrower in hand. Draw a card. That's a draw 2 immediately. I would not mind hitting a Thoughtseize. I think I'll just pass, though. That's up to 4 mana. That gets cycled, and we win that one. Am I still fine with keeping As Foretold, given the presence of this much Vexing Bauble? I don't really love it, but it's not like the spell bombs are insane either. Alright. How much of this can I get out? I bring those back in, they reasonably bounce Eldrazi. The other cards are very much not good. This one at least cycles earlier in the game. Yeah, I don't know that I get to take all of this stuff out. I can go down some restore balances on the draw. This has no mana. That is not gonna cut it. My opponent does keep their 7. I've got a Psychic Frog and a Quantum Riddler. This is fine. Am I keeping land drop 4? I don't think so. I think I'll keep a As Foretold over land drop number 4. And we've got a Devourer of Destiny trigger to start off the game, with a mix of stuff going to exile. Well, we got a 4th land anyway. So this will be Surveil land into Frog, into As Foretold as of right now. It's 2 pieces of Tron naturally. I would love to find a Thoughtseize or a Consign. Want something that interacts with my opponent directly, and that's not Quantum Riddler. I could preemptively Pithing Needle Karn the Great Creator, and sometimes that matters. But I think I just need Psychic Frog, and we'll get the basic land to hedge for if we draw Harbinger. But I think I just need to be able to dump everything into Psychic Frog, and then Quantum Riddler. Does land drop 3, but not all Tron pieces. I am losing the Frog. My opponent has a gajillion D mana. Well, they have slightly less a gajillion D mana. And I mean slightly less. This is a mana reduction of 1 as of right now. Although maybe 2 with that Ugin's Labyrinth. I imagine that I now lose my Harbinger of the Seas to the cast trigger from Devourer of Destiny, which maybe means that I can do something with an As Foretold that's cool. Ugh. I think I'm going to take 2, put a Pithing Needle on a Karn, don't want my opponent tutoring, and I'm going to get this out of my hand in hopes of doing something cool with Quantum Riddler next turn. But I'm taking about a third of my life total this turn, and my opponent has a bunch of mana. I'm not a happy camper. It is another Devourer of Destiny, which now means that I can't top deck one of my sweet free spells and cheat them. This is 12 damage in play. That's not good. We'll get a 4/6. I might just need to cast this and block and attempt to buy a turn. This is now 2 points of damage. I hate modern mana bases. So I'm hoping to go to 1 here. Oh my god. So finishing the thought, I was hoping to go to 1, draw one of my white board sweeper and As Foretold, and then draw the other one. Opponent now has Tron. That's an all is dust, and I'm just fucking dead. So we still go 2-3 in the league, and maybe I 3-2 in the league if in that round I don't try to do the cool thing and I just like get fucking Psychic Frogs and Quantum Riddlers. GG. Alright, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Overall thoughts on the deck list. The interaction between Quantum Riddler and Psychic Frog is awesome. That I like. This is worth building around. However, the As Foretold restore balance thing was not necessarily winning games, even after it did its thing and got its value. And like we saw the blowouts of Warping Whale, and opponent could have waited until we sacrificed more lands. I think we had only sacrificed 1 land when they did it. I don't remember exactly. It could have been worse. I think this deck's biggest flaw is that it does not have good cards to draw. So it has Tamiyo and Psychic Frog and Quantum Riddler, but not the hyper cheap interaction that you can be using extremely aggressively. So if I was going to rebuild this, I would probably go up a couple of lands, get in maybe some Fatal Push, Spell, Pierce type interaction. Just things that you can aggressively trade, knowing that Riddler and Frog and Tamiyo get you back into the game later. Maybe you do Esper stuff so you can Ephemerate and have another angle of attack for Quantum Riddler. Honestly, Quantum Riddler with Psychic Rug was a good enough combo that was just fine. If you start going down the Esper route, there's other things like Felia that you can think about. So Martin, I'm saying this interaction is sweet, and I would attempt to rebuild the deck around this if you are trying to do something competitive. If you are trying to do something fun and keep As Foretold as the focus, I think you need more of the free spells. Like Ancestral Visions is something you can reasonably play as a controlling deck. I don't even know that you want Profane Tutor. Profane Tutor does something later, and it sure does feel like this deck needs to do something right now. I think if you put some Ancestral Visions in here, and you have more interaction to draw into, your Fatal Pushes, maybe actual factual counter spells, maybe you could make As Foretold a little better, but I am skeptical given how fast Modern is that As Foretold is an acceptable thing to do. All right, with that, I think I'm going to call it a day, folks. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great rest of the day. See ya.